Hello everyone, I'm Sarreen and here today to share with you how I am currently preparing for a at-home water birth. Right now I am 38 weeks pregnant. I will be 39 weeks tomorrow, and I officially decided on a home birth at 33 weeks, super late in the pregnancy game. And I will basically cover all of the reasons why I chose to do this and why I chose to do it so late. So yeah, I'll kind of bring you guys a little up in my business. So yeah, here we go. I will share as much as I can with you guys where I'm at currently right now with this whole getting ready for a home birth process. So the three main reasons why I chose to do a home birth was because of COVID-19, this coronavirus that's going on. That's number one. Number two is because of my personal experience that I've been having with my previous OBGYNs. And the third reason is just because of the overall procedure and environment of a hospital birth versus a home birth. Okay, so starting with the reason of it being COVID-19, I'll share with you how my pregnancy has been since I found out I was pregnant, all the way up until about 33 weeks with the whole coronavirus pandemic and how that has affected my pregnancy. When I first found out I was pregnant, I was about 6 weeks. And I found out I was pregnant in December of last year, 2019. And that was when coronavirus, like, it wasn't, ooh, it's thundering. It wasn't such, no one made it a big deal. It was kindly being talked, it was lightly being talked about, but not really. Everything started out pretty normal, like in the hospitals, at my doctor's appointments. I didn't actually have my first real doctor's appointment until January 30th. I remember that date. But when we did first start hearing about the whole coronavirus thing, my boyfriend and I, we slightly started kind of freaking out, just because I remember the elevators being so packed that we would like find a back way, like stairs to go up to, just because like you smelled everyone's breath in the elevators. Like, it was just so many people in the hospitals. But shortly after, once the whole COVID-19 became like a huge deal, everyone found out how serious it really was, and everything just completely changed. I was going to doctor's appointments completely alone, could not take my boyfriend Tevin, couldn't take anyone. It was just me. All of the classes canceled, birthing classes, breastfeeding classes, just anything done. Didn't even get a chance to go to one. And then eventually they made it where I was only seeing the doctor like literally like every other month, and then the month in between would just be over the phone, especially because they said I didn't have any health problems at all. So they were just like, you can miss an appointment or two and just talk on the phone with us. So I was just like, okay. All right, so we have the bedroom right here. Some stuff already a little bit set up, like the bottle warmer, some books, candles. This is one of the main books I'm reading. Natural Childbirth the Bradley Way. It's been helping me a lot. Bed, still using this pregnancy pillow. It's working wonders. Have bassinet here. So long story short, the place that I was going to get all of my doctor's appointments and ultrasounds, couldn't really connect with them. Like, they had so many patients, so much going on, that it just felt like I was in and out. The staff wasn't very professional. I just didn't feel comfortable, this being my first pregnancy. And although this is my first pregnancy, going through everything for the first time, I know what feels right and what doesn't, how things should feel. Like, somewhat, you should feel like you somewhat trust where you're going. And I didn't feel that way. So I talked to my mother about it. She's a nurse, and she gave me a couple of other recommendations on where to go. So eventually I did transfer to a women's center. And so I transferred, I remember transferring like towards like right at the end of my second trimester. So like it was like a late 20-something weeks. So when I got to this new place where I transferred to, like everything just kind of went like a completely different direction. I was told that my due date was off, that I have a brand new due date. My due date was initially August 24th. And when I got to this new place, they're telling me, oh, your due date's off. Your due date is actually August 9th, which, mind you, is today. I haven't had a single contraction or any like signs of going into labor at all. So yeah, apparently today was the day I was supposed to give birth. Even though I know that due dates are just estimations, they told me that like basically my due date was off, my baby was measuring huge. And then the discussion of C-section came up, saying I needed to get a C-section, and if I didn't, then there was a risk of my baby's shoulders getting stuck in my vagina, and I wasn't gonna recognize my vagina after birth if I birthed it naturally. And mind you, I'm hearing all of this like at once, like at this new place that I'm at, and I'm just like, wait, what? And then they mentioned something was wrong with the transfers of all of my medical records, and they had to do every test all over again. And I'm just like, no, we're not doing everything all over again, like a pap smear, drawing all of my blood. All those tests I took in the beginning, it's like a gazillion of them, and they literally like told me like, get undressed, we're doing it all over again. And I'm like, no, we're not. Like so we basically figured it out. I had a copy of all the medical records to show them like, yo, I'm not doing this again. I have everything we need, all of the results are here. Of course I started freaking out. Like, I'm hearing all of this new news, and then I eventually took my glucose screening, the sugar test. I do not have gestational diabetes, because you know that could have been a factor of why my baby was measuring so big. So that wasn't it. I'm completely healthy. And so C-section is being talked about, and of course I've always planned on having a unmedicated natural birth, and now we're just having this big talk about C-section like everywhere, and I'm just like, okay, what's going on? So I have a baby bag that will be full of basically what his outfit will be, what mine will be during birth and like after birth. Right now it only has a pacifier and my little birthing skirt that I'll be wearing. I'm not gonna have like, I don't plan to have like my butt crack all out. It might end up happening anyway. Like, I don't know, I just don't want it out in front of like my mom and stuff like that. And I've seen mothers just put on like a little swimsuit skirt, so that's what that is. But it'll eventually be filled with what the baby's first newborn outfit will be, as well as what I will be wearing. And if I need to transfer to the hospital, this will kind of be like my hospital bag, but we are not thinking that way. So I basically like started speaking with my family. Of course, my mother, she's a nurse. I was just kind of like, they're discussing C-section like out of nowhere. These conversations did not happen at all the last place that I was at, and now I have these women in my face, like a couple doctors there, telling me that a C-section is necessary. And if anything, they would check like a last ultrasound at 38 weeks to see if like the baby like kind of evened out growing. Maybe it didn't grow as big as they thought. And I'm like, 38 weeks? 38 weeks I could pop, like, so I have to wait until I'm 38 weeks to know like what's about to happen, like what's going on. So it just made it like super stressful, and like the pregnancy like almost not even fun anymore, like not even exciting, because I didn't even know like how I was gonna give birth. So yeah, I started seeing huge red flags. Like, I'm a Scorpio, you know, we have like these not psychic, but we have these gut feelings, and just something just did not feel right. Like, I started feeling super uncomfortable like going to these appointments. So I spoke with my mother, like I said, my family. I actually have a younger sister who just got certified to be a doula, so I kind of asked her opinion, and basically everyone around me was just like, Taylor, please do not go through with this hospitalized birth. Like, you really need to look into getting a home birth. And in the back of my head, in the back of my mind, like me and my boyfriend, me and Tevin, we discussed a home birth, but it just kind of was in the back of our heads, but we never really like made a move on it. The main reason was finances. Like, we were like, can't afford a doula or a midwife, so like whatever. But then we really started looking into it after that. My sister explained to me how the mortality rate for African American women in Atlanta was super high, and just like little things like that. So that's when we took it seriously and we really started looking into finding the perfect midwife, even if it was super late in the game. So yes, I began looking for a midwife, but I did not look super deep into a doula because, like I said, my sister's a doula, so she has already been giving me super great advice. She still is, and I'm already paying for this midwife like full price out of pocket because my insurance doesn't cover one, and so I knew I wasn't going to be able to afford a doula. I kind of have my sister as one anyway. So I only looked into a midwife, and what I was personally looking for was someone who can do this with their eyes closed backwards, who's been doing it for years, like an older midwife who can just like, for those of you who are wondering the price of a midwife, I live in Atlanta, Georgia, so it ranges in Atlanta from about $3,000 or maybe $2,000 to $6,000, like in that range. Well, at least that's the range where I had to pay within that range. I got a tiny discount just because I contacted this midwife so late in my pregnancy, but of course, like, the main part of having a midwife is the birth. So the discount wasn't that big, but I mean, it was something. So I basically had like a phone consultation with her first, and I kind of told her like what's been going on with me, what these OBGYNs have been telling me, and she was just absolutely like, what? They're telling you like your due date is off, your baby's too big. She's like, I just birthed a 10-pound baby, I just birthed an 11-pound baby. Like, she was like, you can birth a big baby first of all, even if your baby is big. And because the OBGYNs were telling me that my pelvis couldn't handle anything around 10 pounds. But my midwife was saying that what the OBGYNs were telling me was absolutely crazy and ridiculous, and that they're basically installing a bunch of fear inside me for absolutely no reason, and they get paid more to do C-sections. And she mentioned the same thing, how the mortality rate is super high for African American women in Atlanta, Georgia, or in Georgia. She made sure where I lived wasn't too far from her before we moved on any further. And then eventually we had our very first appointment in person, and that's when I brought Tevin and my mother, just so they can get of course a feel of how she is and everything. She's super outspoken. Like, I like someone who can just tell it like it is. She's not like, she doesn't sugarcoat anything. She doesn't like try to be too nice, or, you know, just no cover-ups, or like, she's super real. And like, this was the first time I actually felt like I can trust who is taking care of me and my baby and guiding us through this. So basically, that very first appointment, I literally learned so much than I ever did like throughout the whole first and second trimester. Like, going to her, like, it was just a super big relief. Like, just in that first appointment, she laid me down. She was able to touch my belly and tell me exactly where the foot was, the butt, the head, the neck. She told me he was already like in the right position he's supposed to be in. She suggested that I take like more supplements. Like, she now has me on liquid chlorophyll, and although I did pass the glucose test, she told me that it was slightly borderline, so she suggested that I don't go off and just go crazy on the ice cream and the sweet tea. Like, that's something that the OBs wouldn't have even told me. And she also told me that I've been getting up off of the couch, off of the bed wrong, like, this entire time. Like, when I lay down and, you know, they check your stomach, put the gel on it, literally all of the OBs would put out their hand and pull me straight up. And she told me that that has been separating my abdominals away from each other this entire time. And she kind of did something where she measured it and said that like your abdominals are already like apart from each other by like 3 fingers just from you getting up the wrong way. And I'm like, oh my gosh, these doctors have been getting me up that way. And she's like, that is absolutely crazy. So this whole time I was supposed to have been rolling over and then getting up on the side, and I'm just now finding this out in my 3rd trimester. Okay. She said the same thing actually happened to her on her first birth, which was hospitalized. She also told me that it's amazing that I practice yoga, that I've been doing yoga this entire time. She mentioned that every mother she had that was either a dancer or some kind of yoga practitioner, their labors were quicker and easier. So that kind of made me feel a little bit better as well. And she's been doing this for years. She's birthed so many twins as well, which I thought was super amazing, naturally. We have some clothes ready. I'm in love with this little nightlight. Turn it off and on for diaper changing. And so yeah, that's the freaking bedroom. All right, so here is our living room. It is super small, so we set it up, got everything out the way. It looks completely different than how it usually would look. We just had to make room and space for the midwife, my mom, Tevin to all be in here. In this box we have a few things. I don't know what these are called, but they go all over the floor around the pool to prevent me from getting everything super wet. There's a mattress cover in here to cover up the bed to prevent the blood from getting on the bed after birth. More tools for the pool. Here there's diapers and wipes for days. And here we have towels. We were told that we needed a lot of towels on deck. So we have that super ready, as well as a bunch of candles everywhere to keep it nice and dim and zen and calm. In here, this is the belly casting that I still need to finish, and I promise that video is coming up as well. Birthing ball for labor may help me. And since I kind of came at her with all of these different things, like, oh, big baby, C-section, blah, blah, she wanted to just like triple check. So she sent me off to this other doctor that she works with, who is like anti-C-section, super into natural birth. So I met up with him to get like this huge ultrasound, like this, that kind of had details of everything. When Tevin and I went there, it was like something that I've never seen before. Like, this doctor was super dope. It was zenned out, like water sound noises everywhere, super just like meditative. The doctor, well, I got my ultrasound. The doctor basically told me, like, you are perfectly fine. Your due date is around August 19th, which is only 5 days away from the August 24th date that I got in the very beginning of my pregnancy. And I kind of retold him the whole story of what I've been going through with the previous OBGYNs, and he basically said, did a woman tell you these things? And I was like, yeah. She was like, and he was just like, so you already have another woman telling you that you can't give birth, that you can't do it naturally. And you know what that did to you? It messed you up. It messed you up here. And you are passing that fear and all that messed up stuff in your head, you're passing it down to your baby. So now what you have to do is take the time to undo all of that. Find your confidence back. Find your calmness back. And know that you're going to be just fine giving birth naturally. And he said my baby was not measuring big. And he basically said that everything was fine. So he gave me a few exercises to do to prepare for labor, to prepare for delivery, and to just use these last weeks to just really chill out and reverse everything that has been told to me. I remember him saying, like, they basically told you you're gonna explode. Like, they just told you this horrible thing's gonna happen. Like, I was just like, he was like, they traumatized you. And I was just like, yeah, you know what? They really did traumatize me. And he made me feel so much better, because he just was like, kudos to you. A lot of women would not have done that. They wouldn't have put that light bulb in their head that was just like, something is not right. Let me look into home births. So he was just really saluting me for that alone, for not just being like, okay, it's a doctor, they know what they're talking about, I'm gonna just do what they say. Just something didn't feel right and I had to go. So I'm glad that I had those instincts where I just did it. And of course, here's the pool. This thing on top is to just prevent anything from getting in the water. I mean, there's no water in here right now, but All we have in here is the liner and the hose, which will connect to the bathroom, and we'll hook that up to the sink or like the bathtub. And there's tools here to get the water nice and warm. Definitely need the whole entire room to be warm. It's really good for the baby as well. And yes, the liner's on here. We did not have to purchase our own pool, thank God. Our midwife has a few of them, so we're just borrowing hers. So yeah, that's where I'm at, seeing the midwife every week. As far as finances, you know, I spoke with my entire family. They all chipped in to pay off the midwife. I got a lot of help, a lot of support from my family members, thank God. Love my family so much. Yeah, I'm so glad me and Tevin, we really made this thing work. So since I have a lot of catching up to do, my midwife sent me off with hella books to read, to learn about labor, birthing, breastfeeding. I remember I knew nothing about breastfeeding. She had me order a birth kit online where everything would just be ready in the bathroom or just in the house. Thank God I didn't have to buy a birthing pool. She provides that, so she gave us that to get ready and set up as well. She did a home visit where she comes here at my home just to get a feel of how everything is, so she'll know exactly where to go when she's driving here when I do go into labor, and just to make sure she has an idea of where to put her things, how everything is gonna go. She'll have like she'll have a visualization of what to expect. It's funny, like I told Tevin that I was having like menstrual cramp feelings like a couple days ago, and he just like went crazy and set up the pool, got everything ready. So we're not taking it down now, we're just gonna keep it up because I am still due any day. But I just thought that was funny how quickly he got everything ready once I told him I felt like something. So yes, I covered the reason of COVID-19, the reason of these OBGYNs telling me all this crazy stuff. And the third reason I decided to go with the home birth is just comparing the procedures and the environment of a hospitalized birth versus a home birth. So in the hospital, you're usually only in one position, which is on your back. And our ancestors back in the day didn't even give birth on their back. They were on a birthing stool. And my midwife actually gave me the option to do a water birth on the bed or in a birthing stool. And what I decided to do was a water birth, but she has it where she's able to put the birthing stool in the pool as well for more support, for more stabilization, just in case I need it. She's gonna have me get in several positions to see what's most comfortable for me, because I will start off in the bed, and then when it's time to push, then I'll make my way to the pool. So we're gonna play around. She told me we'll play around with what feels good, what feels most comfortable, what will get the baby out. So I just think that that's amazing that you can do all of that versus being on your back at the hospital where they're treating you like a sick patient and you're listening to everything that they say. You don't really have much of a say, versus at home you do. Another reason, if I were to give birth in the hospital, I'd be more vulnerable to take an epidural if it was right there. If I'm in so much pain, I probably would be begging for one. Whereas at home, I don't have a choice. I know my body is designed to give birth, and I know that I can do it without an epidural. So that's what I love about the decision to give birth at home as well. My midwife has already told Tevin that he plays a huge role in this home birth. It's his job to calm me down, to support me every step of the way, to massage where I need to be massaged. Like, he's gonna play a huge part. Though I do think that the father would play a good, you know, a part in the hospital as well, but I do think they definitely are going to play a huger role and be a lot more involved at home. So he's super excited for that as well. And of course, the environment of the baby is important. When they first come out, they don't want to just see lights and all of these strangers and these doctors, and you know, when he's at home, there's not going to be any bright lights. It's going to be a zenned out place with candles. And he's gonna immediately be on me, skin to skin on me, and then skin to skin on Tevin. And there's so many more reasons of how a home birth, the environment is more peaceful and just a better environment versus the hospital for like the whole birthing process. But those are just the main reasons that really just got me like, okay, we're really doing this home birth. So yes, that is why we are doing a home birth. I'm just so grateful that, you know, I caught this in time, like this whole plan, this whole feeling. I feel so much better. Even if it is the last trimester, you know, I saved it. I saved, you know, this whole experience to go the right way, but it's okay. Like, we're just excited that it is happening. So yeah, currently where I'm at right now, like I said, I'm 38 weeks. I'll be 39 weeks tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the 10th and I'm due on the 19th. So technically, you know, the babies can come at any time. I haven't had any contractions or anything like that. The only thing that's been happening currently is I've been having these horrible pelvic pains where the baby, his head is so low that there's just so much pressure and it hurts so bad. Like sometimes it's hard to walk, and you can tell it's something that he's doing, because I'll have one moment where I'm walking normally and just perfectly fine, and I guess he's doing something with his elbows. I don't know what he's doing then down there, but sometimes I literally just can't even like get out of bed, can't put on like a pair of pants, can't walk. Like, it is so painful sometimes. So I immediately called my midwife about that, and she just had me order a belly band because I didn't really need one my entire pregnancy. She put me on this arnica oil to help relieve the pain and kind of ease the tissue around that area. She did say I could go to a chiropractor who specializes in pregnancy, but I decided not to do that because of finances. I already spent a lot on this midwife. And she had me get into a certain position to kind of trick the baby to get away from my pelvis and come up a little bit, and she had me get into cat-cow and then lean to the side and get up and then trick him by putting my belly band on really quick so he don't go all the way back down there. But man, it's been crazy because I've been having a super easy pregnancy, like physically. I did not even have nausea my first trimester. I didn't really throw up like that. It's just this 9th month has been kicking my ass. And yeah, so here we have the bathroom. And it's filled with everything that I got from my birthing kit. So down here, these are diapers, not for the baby, but for myself. And I mean, I don't know what some of this stuff is. Like, this is clamps, ice pack, peroxide for, again, blood stains that may get anywhere. These are different herbs that go in the bathtub for like after I give birth. It's like a nice soothing bath. Hand sanitizer, nipple cream. This is to squeeze down there while I'm peeing, like to just, you know, because everything's gonna, I don't know, hurt. Just to like rinse everything off. Not sure what the strainer is for. Umbilical cord clamps. This is like ink for the baby's footprints if you want to do that. Liquid iron, liquid calcium and magnesium, mother's milk, tea for like breastfeeding, several different oils. Like, we're definitely going to be using lavender, rose, peppermint, clary sage. And this is actually Tevin swimming trunks. My midwife thought that was so funny that he put those up there, like just in case he needs to hop in the pool with me for whatever reason. I'm not sure. And yes, more candles. And so yeah, that is all the medical stuff that we have ready, and whatever the midwife may have as well. And I need to clear this table off to have it clear and clean for my midwife and for my mom. All right, so just a few other things that we will be having ready for the home birth are socks filled with rice used as heating pads for if I have any like back pain, front pain, or while I'm having my contractions. It's something my midwife told me about, where you fill the socks with rice and then you boil it so that it's super hot, and yeah, you could just use it as a heating pad. Also, we may possibly use pad sickles, where you take pads and you soak them with aloe vera and witch hazel, maybe even a little bit of lavender oil, and that'll help ease the pain, especially if I tear down there. It'll help the healing process of afterbirth. Also, coconut water, because it's filled with electrolytes, keeps you energetic, especially like you don't know what time I'll be in labor. It could be like at 1, 2, 3 in the morning. So just to keep the energy up, because you know we won't be having an IV or anything like that. So the coconut water will definitely be important. I personally don't like coconut water. Like, I don't know, the taste is really funny. Yeah. So my midwife gave me the suggestion to blend it with other things like fruit, and possibly making ice cubes out of them to just suck on them while I'm in labor. A fridge full of food is definitely important, even if I have to like freeze some, like a good meal or something like that. I've been told that like when you have the newborn, like you're not going anywhere, even if you think you are, like you're just going to be in the house for a few days. So definitely want to have food on deck. I definitely want to have food ready for like my birthing team. It's just going to be my midwife, Tevin, and my mom. Those are the 3 people that I decided to have during my entire birth process. Like, it's important to not have too many people, like a whole audience, but also enough of a support system. So I think like that's like the perfect balance, is just to have those 3 people with me. I don't need anyone else really. So I want to make sure that I have some food here that my mom likes, that Tevin likes, and my midwife. She actually said she was fine, but and she, you know, she brought up Uber Eats and stuff like that. But what if we have the baby like in the middle of the night? Like, those delivery services are not going to be open. So I know she mentioned coffee is super important for her. So I just want to have like, I want everyone comfortable, because you know we're going to be here for some time possibly. My midwife also said that it's important to have like my favorite meal ready. Like, me and my uterus are going to be working so hard that we're going to want like a nice beautiful meal after. So yes, we plan to have that ready as well. I have little gifts ready for Tevin, my midwife, and my mom, just like a little thank you gift. Like, you know, we just went through something huge. They don't know it yet, but I have gifts ready for them. And last but not least, music. I've been told to make a playlist, and that's very important to have. Even though depending on how I feel, I might not even want any music to play. Like, I've heard stories of people like thinking they're gonna want some kind of music, and then when they actually get in labor, they're like, turn that off. We will see how that goes. And so yeah, that's it. I pretty much have everything ready. It's probably like 1 or 2 things to get. But for the most part, like, if I were to have this baby right now, like, or if I were to like, if my water were to break right now or anything like that, like, we will be completely ready. And another thing that I'm doing to get super prepared for this home birth is I'm definitely practicing, you know, reciting affirmations, positive affirmations, like, this birth is gonna go smoothly, everything will be fine, I'll have a happy, healthy birth. Practicing my breathing. They say when you hold your breath, you're fighting labor, so I'm trying not to do this whole squeeze thing that I do when I get cramps on my period. Focusing on undoing all the trauma that those OBGYNs put me through, or telling me all of this crazy information. So yeah, only thing left is for really him to just come out. But yeah, I've been sharing a lot of my pregnancy on Instagram. I kind of like it. I've been having fun doing that, and I still will share more like after my birth and things like that. But immediately after I give birth and I have, you know, I have my newborn with me, I'm probably gonna want it to just be me and my baby and my boyfriend. so we probably won't post anything right away just because that bonding time is so important. But I'll definitely have a follow-up on how my birth went, so stay tuned for that. I think I covered a lot of stuff that people have been asking me. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask me. Am I scared? Yes. I've met so many pregos on Instagram who I've been bonding with. We've been sharing our experiences, like, because we all kind of have like the same due date. A few have already given birth. Congratulations to them. One of my friends, she's also a yoga instructor. She kind of scared me. She said that her birth was extremely painful. So I'm kind of just like, but we'll just see how this goes, guys. If you want to know more about my experience in the future, feel free to subscribe to my channel, hit the like button. If you are currently pregnant or about to deliver, of course I wish you guys the safest, smoothest labor and delivery that you could possibly have. I cannot wait to meet this little one inside of me. But yes, I will talk to you guys soon, perhaps on the other side of this pregnancy. I will see you guys later. Bye.